that we, the Muslims, at one point, inshallah, will reclaim our calendar, our Hijri calendar, and we start acting based on that. But right now we have to deal with that reality. It's a period of time anyway that we work based on. It's a period of time that we live based on. And no matter what, I've released some videos recently about New Year, New You. And some people are saying, Sheikh, you know, like, it's not our new year, what's going on? I said, look, in the end of the day, you're going to go to work and you're going to punch in based on that date. Your iPhone is saying, or Samsung is following that date, and you're basically moving on that day. So, yeah, till we get our Hijri calendar up and running, inshallah, then we have to kind of not get caught up in these details and focus on the main objective, which is, there's a period of time ahead of us, and we need to plan and we need to take advantage of it, because it's very important. I recently lost my brother. He passed away about 2 weeks ago, and I was in the UK, and his wife called me and says, look, you got to come. I flew the same day, reached there. I found him in coma in the hospital, and in 2 days he passed away. His heart gave in. He was 39. And of course, we always, the Prophet ﷺ reminded us that to remember death. And time is very short in life. That's why you have to remember death. You have to know that you plan. You know, he said you plan this, you plan that. You want to have so many things, and all of a sudden, boom, death comes in, and all those plans are out. So my brother had a lot of plans. He was, you know, he was into social media. He had 1.3 million followers on Instagram. You know, doing fitness stuff. He was a very, very jolly type of person. He lived his life to the fullest according to the non-Muslim standards. But in the end, he was humbled, and he couldn't win this one. He's won many fights in his life, but he couldn't win this one. And for me, as a Muslim who has tried 16 years to bring him to Islam and to give him Shahada, but he didn't, you know, it was very tough on me. And every year I plan to visit my grandma in Romania, because I know that she's going to pass away. She's 90. And subhanAllah, my brother passed away before her. You know, and that goes to show that you don't know, right? Don't get fooled by thinking that I'm young right now, like I have so many things, or by the time I'm 50, I'm going to do this, and at 65 or 70, I'm going to retire, I'm going to play golf, I'm going to have my little garden, whatnot. It's not like that. You don't know. You know, the young will leave before the old, and the old can go, and the baby can go before everyone. It doesn't, we don't know. We don't know what's going to happen. This life is very, very short. It's very short. And if you think about it, I mean, a lot of us can remember that just yesterday we graduated from university. Just yesterday we graduated from high school. Just yesterday, you know, this happened and that happened. It's like time is so, so short. And you wake up one day and you say, well, where did it all fly, you know? What happened? How come it went by so fast? Right? A lot of people don't want to think about, oh my God, no, I don't want to think about death. I don't want to think about getting old. I don't want to think about, you know, what's coming next. Let me just live today, right now, enjoy what I have, and don't talk to me. Don't spoil my time. You know, don't spoil my mood, right? If I mean, you don't go to like a gathering and you start talking about death, right? Everyone's gonna be like, come on, man, you just messed up my day. You know, you don't see Americans sitting around barbecue and be like, hey, you're gonna die tomorrow. You know, we should remember ourselves with God and people don't want to talk about death. But death is just a transition, a period. Again, the hereafter. Here, after here, after here, after here. The hereafter is after here. It's just another period of time. And we're all going to go through, and it's unavoidable. If you ask anyone, the thing that's certain, al-yaqeen, as Allah says in the Quran, this is death. No one, you know, I think this is the one thing the world, the different nations, the different religions, they all disagree on so many things. No one will disagree on death. Everyone's going to die. And it's funny that people are trying to beat death. Now there's research on how to extend your life, and now they even they freeze, you know, bodies. There's companies that freeze bodies, freeze you. You can opt to freeze yourself basically, and go into this like limbo state, and then wake up after like 200-300 years, you know, and so on. So they're looking and playing with these kind of things, you know. But in the end of the day, you can't. You can't, because when time comes, it comes. When Allah decides that it's your time, it's your time. But we're not going to focus about death today, even though it's good to remind ourselves. We're going to focus about what do we leave behind. You know, the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ says that the angels, when the person dies, people will ask, what has he left behind? And the angels ask, what has he brought forth? Right? When someone dies, we look at them, we say, okay, what kind of legacy did they leave? Leave as in L-E, right? But I also want to say, what kind of legacy did they live? L-I, you know, like to live like that. Because it's not about what you left only, but how did you leave your life in this short period of time that you had. And that is the question that all of us here today have to ask ourselves. If you could attend your own janazah and hear what the people say about you, what would they say about you? What would they say about you? If you, after you pass away, would be able to hear what people talk about you when they remember you, what would people say about you? What was he known or she known for? What kind of legacy did you leave behind? This is something that you want to question yourself. Today, right now, ask yourself, however old you are, don't have to tell me, however old you are, what have you left behind? What kind of legacy are you living now? And when you die, what will you leave behind? Most of you have some notes with you, right? Okay, write for me on your paper one thing that you are proud about or proud of that you have done so far in your life. I'm talking about your life. If you're 50, in these 50 years. If you're 40, in these 40 years. If you're 60, in these 60 years. If you're 35, in these 35 years. What's one thing that you have done that you are proud of sincerely for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and that you know that it's in alignment with Islam, and it's in alignment with the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, and that you know for sure that this is something that is correct, and inshallah this will be for you on the day of judgment, inshallah, if Allah accepts it. Just write one thing in your notes, or think about one thing. I'll give you 1 minute. It's hard, huh? Not easy to think about. I'll share the one thing that I've done that I believe is the best thing I've done in my life. I'm 36 now, alhamdulillah, and at the age of 20, in my first year of university in Canada, I accepted Islam. And I'll never ever regret. It's the best thing that has ever happened to me in this life compared to everything else that I've done. I've worked different jobs, I've managed schools, I've managed 300 plus staff members, 2,000 plus students. I've traveled to more than 40 countries. Nothing compares to that time when I took my shahada. You know, that's one thing I know it's I'll never regret in my life, you know. But there's, of course, other things that we've done in our lives. But what's the legacy, though? Because it's not enough to just say, I believe in Allah and I believe in the Prophet ﷺ, and that's it. What's the legacy that we live behind? Anyone wants to share? Something that they're very, very proud of?
14 years ago that I contribute to open one factory and offer 70 vacancies for 70 families in very poor area.
MashaAllah. Excellent. That's a very nice and good, amazing thing. So the brother says that he's contributed to a factory, okay, and he basically created 70 jobs for 70 people. You know, and that's changing someone's life is a huge legacy, you know, creating rather than consuming, right? We're consumers by default, and we think a lot about ourselves, my family, what I will do, but we don't think about the others. And that's the thing about a legacy, is that you impact others. It's not about impacting yourself. People think that a legacy means I'm gonna focus on myself, just me. No, it's about what kind of impact you will have on those before. Let's take it back a bit. Imagine right now, we are here in Malaysia. This is Subang, right? 1441 years ago, okay, the hijrah took place. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, one man, one person. I want you to think about it, because sometimes we lose track of this. You know, we think we're a religion. We start thinking we're religion amongst other religions, blah, 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 okay? Imagine the Prophet ﷺ being in the cave of Hira and hearing Iqra Bismi Rabbika alladhi khalaq. On a mountain, in a cave, no phones, no computer, no technology, no nothing, no social media, no marketing, no likes, no nothing. To get popularity, you know, we strive to get some likes on Facebook, on Instagram. We get happy if someone, imagine. And here we are today, 2 billion plus, 2 billion plus, who say La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. Yes, we differ in certain things. Yes, we fight with each other sometimes. Yes, there's some difference of opinion, and this is part of the fitrah. But in the end, we all say La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. We all face the same direction in salah, wherever you might be, any place. You travel, right away take your phone out, where's the Qibla? You go to Singapore, you go to USA, you go anywhere, everyone's like, where's the direction? Where's it? The first thing we ask, where's the Qibla? Right? Last night, I'm sure, I went to sleep very early, but I'm sure that people say, oh, the New Year's, you know, they count down in New Zealand, the highest place, and then they go, right, one by one, and they show all the different ones, you know. Every day this happens with the adhan. The adhan of Fajr will hit, you know, the furthest place, I don't know, like Singapore, I mean not Singapore, like New Zealand or past New Zealand, and then slowly Australia, Malaysia, it goes on, India, you know, Middle East, goes to North America, you know, every day, 5 times a day. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Amazing. Amazing. From one man, one person. You telling me that, oh yeah, Islam is just any person who has any ounce of rationale and reason would understand the greatness of this man, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Because look at the impact, look at the legacy that he has left behind. And if this is not from Allah, then so many people have tried to leave legacies behind. So many people in the past have tried so hard, and they've gotten 100,000, 2 million, 5 million, 10 million, okay, 50 million, but not over all these years, 1400 years plus. Every year, every day, the adhan has been called 5 times a day. Every year, every day, when you say Muhammad, you say Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. What a legacy! But you know, brothers, what's the problem, and sisters? Problem is that we do not take example from this. So Allah says, لَقَدْ كَانَ لَكُمْ فِي رَسُولِ اللَّهِ أُسْوَةٌ حَسَنَةٌ. In the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, you have a perfect example. So we have been fooled actually to believe that Islam is just the salah, just the thobe, just the kufiya, just to go for Hajj and Umrah, just to pray, just to grow your beard, just to put hijab on. All these things are very important. Do not misunderstand me. They are basics of Islam. If we don't do these things, where are we? They are basics of Islam. But we've been fooled by shaitan. And remember, shaitan is not just shaitan as people try to make him look like. Shaitan also amongst people. Min al-jinnati wan-nas. There's human beings who are shayateen. And they have an agenda. And they want to dumb down the ummah of the Prophet ﷺ to just say, they're just praying. Ah, you're a good Muslim. 5 times a day you go to the masjid. Wow, good job. And the guy thinks, yeah, I'm very good. I'm very good 5 times a day. It's good enough for me. This good enough is killing us. Good enough for me is killing us. Number one, it can bring arrogance into you because you think you're good enough. Wow, I'm praying 5 times a day in the masjid. How good am I? Wrong. X. Don't ever think like that. When you settle for that, it's good enough for me, the arrogance kicks in, shaitan got you, I hooked you. And you're not going to do more than that. That's it. It's good enough for me. I'm praying. It's good enough for me. I want a hijab. It's good enough for me. I am good. No, that's not the way that it is. And it's not me saying it. The Prophet ﷺ and the Sahaba never said this is good enough for me. I'm good enough. They always strive to push more and more. But we've been fooled to think that we are good enough. I will get into Jannah. Inshallah, Ya Rab, Ya Rab, we all get into Jannah. Inshallah. However, the legacy. The Prophet ﷺ left a legacy. Okay, people come to me and when I say the Prophet ﷺ did this and that, they say, no, but he was the Prophet. This one kills me. This one really intellectually, spiritually destroys me. As I said, but Allah is saying to follow him. فَاتَّبِعُونِي. Follow me. The Prophet ﷺ himself says, Allah will love you if you follow me. How many times Allah talks about salah in the Quran? How many times? How many hadith compared to everything else is about salah? Not so much. Look it up. How many is about the halal and haram? There's not so much. It is important, it's there, because it's part of the basics. But how much does it talk about establishing Islam? Really about freeing humanity from the clutches of their own desires and shaitan, to really bring them into freedom. This is real freedom. People love to talk to them about freedom, freedom of choice, freedom of speech, freedom of this. They are slaves. They are slaves to themselves. They are slaves to shaitan, to their desires. You can't move 2 inches without seeing this advertisement and that. I want to buy this, I want to do that. Oh, mommy, buy me that. Why? Because I've seen this advertisement. Because no one, we're all slaves to our own desires and to this dunya. And you can never be slaves to 2 at the same time. So you choose. You're either a slave to Allah or a slave to this dunya. It's very simple. There's no such thing as 2 masters. There's only one. And people need to make their choice. People need to make their choice. But we've been fooled to believe that I don't have to do more than this. When the Dutch came to Indonesia and they send their emissaries to understand, to study, they don't just come and enter. They were studying the situation strategically. They went back and they said, okay, you won't be able to convert these people to Christianity or to whatever. It'll be very difficult. They're very committed to their faith. They have purity of aqidah, of theology. You can't, no one's Very few people, no one, you can say, will give up one Allah for three confusing gods, you know. It's very simple. But he said, but we can convince them that Islam is only praying and being in the mosque. But we can convince them that Islam is only praying and living and being in the mosque. And that's why we are very attached to the masajid. And the Prophet ﷺ said, yes, the heart of the person who is attached to the masjid. But we take things out of context. أَفَتُؤْمِنُونَ بِبَعْدِ الْكِتَابِ وَتَكْفُرُونَ بِبَعْدِ. Allah says, do you believe in part of the book and you deny the other one? Right? People don't want to read the Quran more than it is, more than it's given to them, more than the Sheikh says, more than, you know, the Imam says, the Ustaz says. People don't want to understand more. They don't want to do, no. So Islam is 5 daily prayers. If I ask you right now, explain to me Islam. Non-Muslims, they ask us in America and Canada and UK, what's Islam? What's Islam, brother? If I ask you, what would you tell to someone? I know I'm putting you on the spot. But what would you say if someone asked you, what is Islam? Believing in Allah. Okay. Okay. So the brother is quoting the hadith. Okay. Anyone else? What is Islam? If someone asks you, but remember, a non-Muslim, someone who, what is Islam? What is the deen? What is...
Islam is the true transformation to the will of Allah.
True?
True transformation to the will of Allah.
To the will of Allah. Okay, great. Anyone else? What is Islam? Yes, brother.
Islam is a way of life.
A way of life, okay? Good. All of you are saying good things. Yes. Someone else, sisters. What is Islam? If someone asks you, a non-Muslim comes and asks you, what is, explain to me Islam. I want to know what it is Islam. What would you tell them? So? A manual to life, okay? Great answers, but please be careful. Look, when you say a religion, a manual, a this, it means that it's one amongst others. Islam is not one amongst others. Islam is not a way of life. It's the way of life, the manual to, the submission to God. It's the only one. It's the salvation and solution for mankind's problem. It is believe in Allah and the angels and the books and the prophets and all the articles of faith, of Iman, the pillars. And it is your salvation. It is your success in this life and the hereafter. The only, there's no other options. Because when you say the person says, well, it's one, I can pick another one if I want to. I don't need to agree. And that's the type of thing that's, you know, it's hurting us because we're just like something amongst others. I know people don't like that kind of talk because we live in a very, you know, pluralistic society and people get worried about that. But we're not calling for hurting anyone or for, no, that's not what we're calling for. We're trying to say that we have the best. We have the best. We're not saying we are the best. We have the best. I was driving with one guy back in the UAE a few years ago, and he was an atheist. And we're driving always from work to home, and he turned to me one day and he's like, bro, you always talk about Islam. Like, why do you think you're better than me, you know? I said, I don't think I'm better than you. I think Islam is better than you. He said, oh, okay. I said, I'd never say I'm better than you. I think what I have is better than what you have. You're always complaining that you're drunk, you're not feeling well, you don't have luck in love, you don't have a purpose in life. I'm saying that what I have is better than what you have, what you're complaining about. It's not me. Without Islam, I'm nothing. I'm zero. But with Islam, it becomes something amazing. Because of Islam. Because of what I have accepted. As the sister said, the manual of life. You know, the instruction of how to do things. How to understand reality and true happiness in this life and true freedom is by Islam. So, going back to the main thing, that we've been dumbed down to think that we just pray. And none of us are tried and striving to leave a legacy behind. See, the Prophet ﷺ has left Islam as a legacy. And that was his objective in life that Allah has endowed him with. And we are now living Islam because of the blessings that's coming from that. But the question is, then what? What do we do more than that? What else? It's not enough just to practice. Yes, the Prophet ﷺ prayed, but he enjoyed others to pray. And he spread the deen. And he shared the deen with others. And if you can say again, oh, the Prophet. Remember I said, people say it's the Prophet. It's the Prophet. Okay, Abu Bakr did the same. Omar did the same. Uthman did the same. Ali did the same. All the people coming after them did the same. They strived. They pushed. What? Only to go and pray qiyam? No. Their qiyam and their salah and their siyam was not the end of it. It was just a means to achieve the greatness of Islam. It was a means only. But see, we've been again pushed in this box to believe that Islam is just this. Just a little bit. Don't try to be good in business. Abu Bakr was one of the best business people in the world. How could he give everything for the sake of Allah? Imagine that kind of bold. Imagine if I ask you today, pull out all your savings and give it to me for da'wah, for Islam. Would you do it? Huh? Come on, brother. Bismillah. Okay, start. Come on, honestly, how many people would pull out their savings and say, here you go? Abu Bakr did. And Omar tried to compete with him. And he did half. And then Uthman sponsored the whole caravan. And they were smart. Brothers, it's killing me that we are only about salah. And everyone else, I'm not going to name the ethnicities here, but all the other people are pushing, and they're smoking us. They are destroying us. And the Muslims still believe, but I'm going to the masjid. Good for you. It's a basic. It's like breathing. You should not be able to live without salah. If you're going to the masjid. Sorry, because when I go for Fajr, it's mostly the elder gentlemen who go to the masjid. Those are the real men. The boys, the young boys are sleeping. Because they're boys. They're not men. They're boys. Go to the masjid. You see brothers like this and like this, mashallah. That's it, come on. Is it not true? The boys are sleeping because they're boys, they're not men. They're still worrying about other things. They're lost. But we are fooled to think that that's it. Brothers, Allah and His Messenger, they are the ones who understand Islam the best. That's why I say, when people say, brother, but you shouldn't be attached to the dunya. Of course not. But are you telling me when the Prophet ﷺ was giving money out, when the Prophet ﷺ was collecting money, he's attached to dunya? When Omar is collecting the money and he says, I will fight you. When Abu Bakr said, I will fight everyone. If they left a whip only from the zakah, I will fight them. And he did. It was the wars of the Ridda. Oh, Abu Bakr, you want money? Your heart is attached to money? Are you telling me that you understand Islam better than Abu Bakr? Radiallahu anh? Come on, guys. Come on. We're killing ourselves. We're fooling ourselves. And hence we accept the status quo to just be little sheep. Yeah, it's okay. And the non-Muslims are pushing. They know. They still have their spirituality. They do their things. But they push and they push and they push. And by pushing, they're pushing and we're pushing ourselves down. How many of us say that it's part of Islam to be a Muslim? Because there's so many ethics. Look at the fiqh books. Imam Shafi, how much he wrote about fiqh of transactions. Imam Ghazali and others have written about fiqh of transactions, muamalat. How many books are done about business, inheritance, numbers, fractions? What? Who talks about it? No, brother. Salah. Okay, salah is the air you breathe. Your iman is the air you breathe. It should be by default. Should not be something we're thinking about. You should do. But then what? You tell me Abu Bakr didn't pray? He prayed. No, I have to stay in the... No, he went out. From Medina all the way to the borders of Oman to fight the people who didn't want to pay zakah anymore. Because he understood how important financial strength is. Why? Because he understood? No, because that's how he learned from the Prophet ﷺ. What's the difference, guys? The difference between us and others when it comes to leaving a legacy, be it financial, be it business, be it education, be it technology, be it family, be it whatever, build an empire, it doesn't matter. You know, people say, no, but it's like, I feel like it's not good in Islam to wish to have a big building or an empire. Sun wasting. See how powerful? I'm very angry. I was watching the presentation on Sunway City. Does anyone know the CEO of Sunway? Who? Yes, exactly. Chinese man. Very, very smart business guy. Why? I want to see you being the CEO. I want to see you being the one holding that. Or better than that. Stronger than that. But you know what's the problem with the Muslims? We say, no. I'm too humble to have that. Brother, it's not like that. The difference that Islam teaches, you don't keep it in your heart. You keep it in your pocket. And that's why Abu Bakr was, take go. Uthman, go. No problem. Why? Because it's not in his heart. Trust me, if any one of these guys leave or lose their estate, trust me, because it shows. Look at the actors. Look at the investors. Look at the financial crunches that took place over the past 10 years. How many people are in depression, suicide, you name it. Why? Because it was in their heart. It was the aorta that was supplying the blood. And when that was cut, they had a heart attack. Isn't it? But the Muslim, he's taught to make ihsan in this, but never to keep it in their hearts. This is why this is zuhd and not being attached to dunya. Attachment. So when you lose it, what do you go? You're not going to take anything to the grave with you. Nothing. Recently I received an article. Maybe you saw it. I received an article recently about a man in Saudi Arabia who left as his last wish to have one sock being placed on his foot when he gets buried. So the people who were washing him and shouting him, they said, no, we cannot do it. It's not part of Islam. Yani. So they actually called the Fatwa Council, and there was some debate, and finally someone came with a letter as to why this is what he was requesting. And he left this message for his family saying that, you know, everything that I've left behind, I only get from it 8 feet of shroud, of wrap. And that's all you're gonna get. So what I've left for you behind, make sure they use it for the sake of Allah. Brothers, people want to take it to the grave with them. Isn't it? Their benchmark for being successful is the numbers and how much. How much have you won? People worship money. You know, again, I'm not going to name, but when I came to Malaysia a year ago, I was start meeting different people, and they were start trying to, we love money. Malaysians don't love money, they would say. But we love money. I said, I didn't understand it till later, what they meant. Then I understood. And it's good that Malaysians don't love money. But you should have money. You should push. You should be strong. This is part of leaving a legacy. Financial strength. As the Prophet ﷺ said, it's better that you leave the people behind you with something to have than to leave them poor, begging, asking for help here and there. The Prophet ﷺ said, the upper hand is better than the lower hand. The giving hand is better than the receiving hand. Allah loves the strong Muslim better than the weak Muslim, but in both of them there's khayr. How many? The Prophet, just look at the context, brothers. The Prophet ﷺ understood Islam the best. The Sahaba after him understood Islam the best. And they left legacies behind. They understood what it means. Imam Abu Hanifa says, build the masjids big so you can show the izzah of Islam. Because in his time, that was needed, you know. He understands the fiqh. He's not saying show off. He's not saying be this or be that. But he understood the importance of being strong. Why? Because if anyone, and you know brothers, at work, in your families, in your business, if anyone smells an ounce of weakness on you, they will eat you alive. The Prophet ﷺ, why would he advise the Sahaba to dye their beard when they go for war in black, to show that they're shabab, that they're strong? The Prophet ﷺ, why do we run the tawaf in some of the tawafs? You know, because that was a sunnah. The Prophet ﷺ go, when some of the Sahabas went and performed, he says, go and run those to show that you're strong, that you're not weak, that you're not soft. The Prophet ﷺ never was like, I don't know. You never see the Prophet ﷺ say, I don't know. Or I'm going to do my best. Or let's see. وَإِذْ عَزَمْتَ فَتَوَكَّلْ عَلَى اللَّهِ. When you have taken, you've done your best, then you put your tawakkul on Allah. But you have to. Tie your camel, then put your trust in Allah. We have been dumbed down to not understand what does it mean to perform, to have objectives in this life. And we have dumbed down, as I said, for those who are just joining, to believe Islam is only about praying. While praying is like breathing, it's a basic, you should do it. So some people are not even breathing, they're not praying. They're dead. Basics. If we can't get the basics, how do we expect to do that? But we've been dumbed down. I'm wishing that one day we see the Muslims who are practicing, who fear Allah, who stay away from riba, from interest, that they are the ones building the big buildings that are being built in KL. Why? I'll tell you why. Because a Muslim who fears Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he will or she will make sure that the workers who are working get their rights. Because there's so much abuse when it comes to workers' rights in today's society. That the money that goes in there is halal and that there's barakah in it. That things are done properly with amana, not just, pay someone, corrupt someone and just get a signature and a safety inspection. And then the building, something happens after 2, 3, 5 years, 10 years. Amana. That's the difference between a Muslim successful business person who leaves a legacy, is that they have these ethics of Islam, of amana, of ihsan, of iman. They take those not only in the books and not only in the masjid, but in everything that they do. And then the world becomes a better place. We hear of these stories of people converting to Islam because of the good manners of this or that person. Why? Because they've applied Islam. They didn't apologize. They didn't try to change Islam. They didn't try to dumb down Islam. They didn't try to corrupt Islam. They just did Islam. If they don't like it, they don't like it. But of course they will like it, because Islam, there's nothing not to like about. I swear, I mean, give us one thing that there's not to like about Islam. The problem is we're scared. We're scared to show it to the human beings, to people. And because we're scared, they don't respect us because they see we flip-flop. We don't stand strong on our morals and principles. And hence, no one respects us. So brothers and sisters, leaving a legacy is more than just what we are used to. I want to see the next generation being the best businessman while praying, fasting, qiyam al-layl, zakah, paying zakah properly. People don't pay zakah. Imagine all these business endeavors if they pay zakah properly. There will be no poverty in Malaysia. Imagine if we can convince the non-Muslims of Malaysia who are holding 70% of the economy to pay zakah. What a great achievement. What a great legacy. As the brother said, he created some jobs, 70 jobs. 70 people would have their lives changed. The rizq is going to come from that. That's a legacy. You leave something behind that will have an impact on the lives of the people. And you're not shy to say that this is because of Islam. This is because of the deen. This is because of the ethics of Islam that we learned from Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I want to see technology being advanced with ethics. Not these crazy things that are happening today that are destroying our health. People are advancing technology that's destructive. Virtual reality right now, artificial intelligence linked to what? Linked to sexual perversions. Multi-million-dollar company making dolls, artificially intelligent dolls, so people can, make love to them because they can't make astaghfirullah to real people. You know, they cannot build proper relationships. There's no haya, there's no multi-million dollars on plastic and chips because there's no ethic. There's no ethic. The science is there, the knowledge is there, but there's no taqwa. There's no that, wait a second, is that pleasing to God if I do this garbage? Is that going to harm humanity or is going to benefit it? They don't think like that. And then later on, right, when social media started, we're on social media. But now so many researchers are talking about people being addicted, cyberbullying, all the, now people are saying maybe it's not the best thing that happened to us. Maybe it's not the best thing. Oh, now maybe it's not the best thing. But you see, if people would have, imagine if all these platforms would have been done with Islamic ethics in mind. But they haven't. Why not? Because the Muslims were just satisfied with going to the masjid, if they go to the masjid. Just praying, if they pray. Just fasting Ramadan, if they fast Ramadan. That's it. While everyone else start pushing. Brothers, it's not mine. Look into the history. Look into the history. We love to say we used to what? Algebra. Who is algebra? Al-Jabr. Muslim. Algorithm. Al-Khawarizm. You know algorithms are used for social media to work. For Facebook. Everyone has an algorithm. It wouldn't work if it's not based on that. The world wouldn't work. Computers wouldn't work. Why were these people so advanced and did so much? Build the foundation of this world. Because they understood that Islam is not just 5 daily prayers. Why? The non-Muslims of Europe used to line up to enter Andalusia, what's Spain today, that we had for 700 years. And they used to wear thobes like that to imitate the Muslims. And they used to line up and apply to learn Arabic because it was so cool to know Arabic and make Arabic poetry. It was like the cool thing at the time. Imagine all these songs that they have today and pop culture Flip that, and Arabic was the pop culture of that time. Reciting poetry in Arabic, and it was considered the superior language, and all the young people would line up to learn it. The royals of Europe would write request letters, applications to the Khalifa to allow their children to study in Arabic, to learn Arabic and study in Arabic, the sciences and philosophy and you name it, in Andalus. So that was a golden age, because I believe people understood Islam. And they understood that Islam is not just praying. And they wanted to leave a legacy, and indeed they have left a legacy. The question is, what will we leave behind? What kind of legacy we're going to leave behind? What will we be remembered by those who stay behind us? And what will the angels say when we come forward? What will we bring forward? What kind of hasanat will be in our balance on the day of judgment? Where Allah says, you took care of 70 people, you created jobs, this risk came from your way, boom, enter into Jannah. You've done this, you've built this, you've created that with Islamic ethics. You've solved the issue of riba. Don't tell me it cannot be solved. It can be solved. The question is, who's going to do it? Which one of all you is going to do it? Which one of all you is going to do it? Ideas are there. People have done things that you could never imagine that this can happen. It can happen. Who's going to invent the next, the next cure or the next this or the next that? Which Muslim will it be? But if we don't have the right mindset, we will not be able to do it. If we don't have the right mindset, we will not be able to do it. Because that's where it starts from. And the right mindset is the right understanding of Islam that comes from Iman, that comes from the knowledge. Imagine the mindset of Umar Khattab, the mindset of Khalid ibn Walid. What kind of people are these? High performers, people who hustled, people who pushed. But their niyyah was Islam. Their niyyah was to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You do your best, outcomes are up to Allah. You take all the asbab, outcomes are up to Allah. But you do something. You leave something behind. Plan, guys. Sit with yourself. Take a notebook. Put some points that you want to do this year. What do you want to achieve this year? Don't give me, I'm too old now, I'm 50, 60. No. Because when they fought the Battle of Badr, a lot of the companions were old. Hamza was not that young. They're in their 50s, fighting battles, in their 60s even, fighting battles. Exactly, the Prophet ﷺ himself. They didn't say, I'm not going to. No. Live as if you're going to live. Allah knows. Don't let a number stop you. Put your plan. Stay tonight, today, wherever. Take a notebook. Take half an hour. Go alone somewhere in a corner where no one's going to bother you. And put some points for yourself. What do I want to do to change myself this year? Number one. How do I change myself? How do I change the mindset? It starts from here. The iman that comes from the heart. My understanding of how things should be done. Okay? How do I change what do I need to change? I don't know. You might have to change the way you eat. You might have to change the way you sleep. You might have to change the way you learn. You might have to change something, your routine. Something that you're going to change about yourself. Okay? Number two, what are you going to change about your life and your business, your work, your relationships? What you going to change about that? Are you happy with just always being pushed down? Because that's affecting the mindset, that's affecting your performance, it's been affecting you for years. It's been holding you down. And don't tell me you don't have goals, dreams that you've had. Don't tell me you don't have objectives. When the Prophet ﷺ were digging, they're digging the trench. And you say, Allahu Akbar. The palace of this is open. The palace of... Imagine you being attacked. Imagine you're being attacked. You're Bedouins pretty much. No clothes. Hot outside. It's hardcore desert, weather. People want to kill you. And you're saying, I can see the palace of Kisra being open. And I can see this being open and that being open. Subhanallah. And indeed, some of the Sahaba saw it. So imagine what kind of, from being this to being that. Imagine what kind of feeling. But they had big dreams, objectives. You can say the Prophet ﷺ is receiving wahi. Okay, but the Sahaba around him didn't receive wahi. They believed in those dreams. They believed in him. And they joined the caravan. And that's another thing that you need to plan. How do you, because you cannot do it alone, how do you build the strength of the brotherhood and the sisterhood? You can't do it alone. That's the problem with us Muslims today. We try to work alone. Brotherhood and sisterhood is very, very important. Community is very important. Working together is very important, because you might have something I don't have. He might have something I don't have. He might have the finances. He might have the skills. He might have the connections. He might have the knowledge. And you synergize and you work there. But if you don't come together, so put a plan on how to build your community, your family, the brothers, the sisters, how to come together is very, very important. It is fundamental to be together. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is with the jama'ah. The jama'ah is very important, brothers and sisters. The community is very important. The Prophet ﷺ has already laid the principles. He's talked in the hadith about the bricks being together, the wall, about the body, about if one of the parts is hurting, the whole body is hurting. We know, we read these things, but we don't understand them in the right context. Outside in the world, create, man. Because he's got it. Idea, he's got the money, he's got the knowledge, he's got go out and put it in application outside. Beat the competition. Create. We're just consumers. We are consuming what they are creating for us. And because they are creating things for us without proper ethics, then we are sometimes consuming haram. So we need to be out there pushing and breaking the competition. In a good way. Establishing the standards, establishing the morals, so that people can rise to our level. We are the ones who have the best. Let them come to us, to our level. We can do it without riba. It's so easy to buy 5 apartments on a bank loan, If a Muslim has 300,000 ringgits, he maybe can try to do one business or one thing. A non-Muslim with 300,000, he's going to apply and get a loan of 3 million. And he can start 5 businesses. But there's no ethics in that. Because ultimately that is a vicious circle that hurts a lot of people that you might not see. Because the principle itself is wrong. And the funny thing is, it's wrong in their religion. It's wrong in ours. It's wrong in everyone. In terms of history, no one ever agreed with it. But people do it. So, build a community that can synergize and help each other. Push each other. Plan, guys. Put things, I don't know what you want to do, but plan. But make it something that is, don't make it something that is abstract. I want to go to Jannah. Okay, we all want to go to Jannah. But how do you get there? The Prophet ﷺ used to say, okay, this battalion goes here, you go there, Ali go there, this person takes the letter there. Very specific, very divided. Divide the resources, plan correctly, specific. Budget, 1, 2, 3, do this, 2, 4, what are the KPIs? How do I know I've achieved this? Clean, cut, objectives. Put it for yourself. Last but not least, something that we advocate as part of leaving a legacy behind, and I think is very important, brothers and sisters, is the issue of returning to our fitrah. We are away from our fitrah. Our fitrah has been distorted. And part of a course that I do and is for us anyway, to teach males how to be men again. And I hope we're trying to work with the sisters as well to get the sisters to teach sisters how to be women again. Because this has been distorted. Our fitrah has been distorted so much. The food that we eat, the things that we watch, what's been pushed in society, are males, and I call them males now because that's just a gender that you've been given by, born like that, are not men anymore. Our boys are dumbed down. The education system is destroying them. It's making them insecure. A lot of the dumb things that they do, unsafe things, is because they don't know how to deal with their emotions. They don't know how to deal with conflict. It's against their fitrah. And there's an agenda behind this. I believe there's a big agenda behind this. Especially targeting males. Especially because they have a bigger responsibility in society to take care. الرجال قوامون على النساء. Men are the protectors of women. So if you remove the protection and if you remove the strength of that protection, then definitely what the walls protect is going to be very vulnerable. And because the women are the ones who laid the foundation for these children, for the next generations, and if they are corrupt, then easily there's a cycle that starts. So the men are weak, the walls are down, boom, attack the females. Okay, then when they give birth to their children and start raising them, father's working 8-10 hours, then the woman gives the child a horrible education, a horrible tarbiyah. And when I say education, I'm not talking about schools. We know that schools are already giving us a horrible education. We know that. I'm a school principal. I'll be fooling you. America is number 40 something in the world in terms of education. UK 28, Canada 26. Why isn't the whole world adopting Japan or the other ones that are in the first place? Because it's about propaganda. It's about who's got the ability to sell the education system. Malaysia is all about the British system. It's a horrible system. I'm telling you, the UK Cambridge system is a horrible system. I know a lot of you might not like to hear that. Look at the statistics. If you want the best, then go for Japan. Singapore, I think number 3. Or what's the Scandinavian country in the north? Finland. Okay, those are usually 1, 2, 3 for the past few years. Why are you going for 28 or 26? I don't know. If you run a race, do you want to be number 28 or you want to be number 1 or 2 or 3? 1, 2, 3 get the podium, right, in the Olympics. 26, man, is chilling on the field. Come on, rational. I'm asking you. I'm a school principal, and we have Cambridge, okay? Because we've been brainwashed. That's why. Just like we've been brainwashed to believe Islam is only praying. That's why we've been brainwashed to believe that a male, a real man, supposed to be like just nice. Just take it easy. Just don't do anything. Just go home, go to work, go home, go to the mall, go to the park, go home, sleep, eat, die. This is the reality of most men. And then we wonder why our boys are acting up. Why our boys, are becoming, gay. Why they're dressing like girls. Because when I go to the mall and I see some boys, the way they're dressed, how feminine they look, it's horrible. Putting on makeup even, man. the way they walk. Why? Why? And my question is why? Because that's what they see. That's what's popular. And they don't have real role models to show them what a real man is supposed to act like. In United States of America, there are at least 50 school shootings per year. School shootings, you know? Why? Because people don't know how to handle conflicts. They don't know how to deal with bullying. Sometimes you gotta punch someone in the face and deal with it. That's how we used to do when we were young, right? Let's meet outside, we're gonna fight. Real boys used to fight. Now you get suspended, you get expelled, you get this, you get that. So what do people do? They go buy a gun, they make a list of people that they want to shoot, and then they go shoot them. Look at it, do the research. It's happening over and over because they don't know how to handle conflict. They don't know if someone pushes you what to do. You're supposed to hold it inside, and you hold it inside till you get depressed. You're not supposed to talk about your feelings. You're not supposed to talk about this. You're not supposed to show this. And then it builds, and people start doing live broadcasts while they hang themselves, right? You've seen crazy stuff, you know? And then you have blue whale games where, you know, or challenges of committing suicide and whatnot. And people go and buy guns and they make a list of people they want to shoot. Because they don't know how to deal with conflict. They don't know how to manage conflict. You know, they don't know how to be men. And part of being a man is conflict. The Prophet ﷺ used to wrestle. Our kids are playing with their wrestling their fingers. You know, have muscles on their fingers. Man, let the boys roll. Let them punch each other a little bit. Go to karate, go to jiu-jitsu, wrestling, judo, something. No. Contact is important to know how to get your energy out. Because if not, it builds. And then it just explodes. People get frustrated. And then they just let go. But this is part of leaving a legacy. We need to return back to our fitrah. Women, to be real women, to understand what does it mean. The push is that women should be men. Should be equal, right? Isn't that? And this is the worst thing against the fitrah. Because women were created in such a way to take care of and nurture human souls. And the more they imagine me trying to raise my kids as a man, you know, it's crazy. The woman has something that if she loses it, the children will go astray. And the man has something, if he loses it, the children will go astray. And if the two have something different, they come together and they build a team, then this is how it works. But when you're going to try to bring it together and be the same, then there's a mismatch. There's a mismatch. And I believe and I argue that Islam has the best definition of what a woman should be and the best definition of what a man should be. And if we stick to it, I believe we can solve a lot of world problems. But if we go away from it, we're going to suffer more and more and more. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us. I do a course, as I said, for sisters. We're still looking at how to do it because we need some sisters who understand and who can teach the sisters what does it mean to be a real woman. Like the Sahabiyat, like what does it mean? Not what you see in the society, but how the right standard of those women who have been, Allah has stamped them, radiyallahu anhum wa radu'an. Allah is pleased with them and they are pleased with Him. You know, that's the halal stamp that we're all looking for. So we're looking for that, but for the males, for the men, we're having a course that we're doing. The title doesn't matter, but it's basically the Muslim Alpha Men course. How to be a real man. Okay, that's why usually inside they call the Alpha. The Alpha is the one who's a bit more assertive, confident, strong. And we teach our men. And believe it or not, the idea started from women. The women told us, like, we want our men to be more masculine. You know? And I was talking to a female psychologist, a Muslim, that has a large practice for the past 20 years. And she said that over and over again, the women say, we want to submit to our husbands and to the males, but they're not real men. So how can we submit to them? We're more men than them. Right? Because if you usually ask some men, you'll be like, no, you have to ask the boss. You know? Yeah. Because I won't look at my wife if I have to make a decision and to ask for her permission. You know, she knows who's the boss. This is the reality. I don't know, am I right or not? She's not, yeah, she says yes, because I'm not scared, because I've established, but I love her, I take care of her, I respect her, I treat her properly, but I have my job and she has her job, and we work together. We complete each other. You know, the Arabs have a nice saying. They always say, if you say, hey, let's go do something, they say, wait, I have to ask the Minister of Interior Affairs, which is the wife, yani. Yeah? I'm not saying to disrespect women. That's not what we're teaching. Actually, we're teaching to respect them. We're teaching how you are a real man, a real gentleman, how to really be romantic, how to really be a good man, as the Sahabas were. But at the same time, not becoming a woman, as a lot of us would want us to be today, sadly. So, barakallahu fikum. If you guys have any questions, inshallah, we're willing to take questions. If you want to write them on a piece of paper, if you're not comfortable with asking them directly, or you can just ask it for the benefit of everyone else, inshallah. We'll take about 15 minutes and then we'll break, inshallah. Any questions? Yes, brother.
Yes,
Alaikum salam wa barakatuh.
Yeah, this is not a question, but I just want to elaborate on it. Like what you said, there is something when the man lose it, then the children go astray and left by the woman too. So what actually was this thing you're talking about?
Okay, so say again, one more.
You said there is thing that when the man lose it, the children go astray. And there is thing too when the woman lose it, the children go astray. But when they come together as a team, what are some of those things?
Okay, so if a man doesn't show his child a good example, a masculine example, he doesn't show him how to be a man. Because, see, even the way our society is structured right now, the gender roles are very mixed, right? Before, and you're talking here, please keep in mind, the world has existed and humanity has existed for thousands of years. And for thousands of years, it was very clear as to what women do and what men do. The past 70, 80 years after the World War and then the Industrial Revolution and so on, then things became blurry. Okay? Things became blurry then with, obviously, with the advance of of Hollywood and movies, people were able to push their agenda more. When men don't have that ability to show, like fathers used to take their kids out on the land and work with them, right? They used to teach them how to do, what's your responsibility. The girls would be with the mom working around the house, and then, you know, they would do the job there, and the girls would do the job there, and then the two jobs kind of come together, and the family exists, you know? Right? And the girls would know that this is what it means to be a woman. And they would take pride, you know, they take care of the babies. Now women don't want to have babies. A lot of women do not like to have kids. Why? Because it's been pushed on them that the successful woman can have this career. And wallahi, uqsim billah, please do the research. Don't just believe me. Do research of non-Muslims. More and more women now in the West, in their 50s and 60s, are saying, man, I regret it. I'm alone now. Yes, I've done my career. I live with a cat. My cat is going to inherit all my money. Well, look at it. Please do research. Don't believe me. Do the research. Okay? And they're regretting. They are regretting the fact that they didn't get married, that they didn't have children, that they weren't more feminine in line with the role that they were given from God. Recently, I was looking at a research about gender roles and about society, and they said that women are better at being, for example, nurses, caretakers, and men are better at being engineers, right? And the research is very clear. Yes, some women are engineers, and some men are nurses. I don't know here, but in Canada, USA, you have male nurses, you know? Which I don't believe they can ever be as good as the women. And I don't believe that the women can be as good engineers as the men. But the way their mind works and the way their psychology works, the study shows, is that they fit better and they perform better. Why? Because women are natural caretakers. Why? Because they're the ones who usually give birth. They're the ones who have been taken care by the mothers. A man, a woman have certain traits. And this is how Allah says, وَلَيْسَ ذَكَرُ كَالْأُنْثَى. Very clear. Man is not like the woman. Clear cut. And the faster we understand and accept it, actually the faster we'll perform better in our work, the faster we'll perform better in life, the faster we'll fit in those things that we can do and do it very good. And without a doubt, there's many things that women can do much better than men. And without a doubt, there's many, many things that men can do better than women. And if we understand that, it'll be easy to synergize and have a better, creative society that will perform better. Right now, sorry, our societies are in chaos. There's so much war, there's so much poverty, there's so much corruption in our society. If we have the correct formula that the West tries to tell us that we have, why is it not working? I'm always asking the Americans and the Canadians and the Romanians and the Eastern Europeans, why is it not working, guys? Your capitalism is leading the world. Why is it not working? Why is it failing? You didn't solve the problems of famine yet. You didn't solve the problems of poverty yet. You didn't solve the problems of AIDS and of other diseases yet. Why have you not solved the problem? You've been leading the world for so long. So it's cut. I mean, it's just the evidence is there. So, and if the women don't practice what they're supposed to practice, then of course, the mother is not at home. She's also working, not taking care of the kids. The kids are being put in a, some kind of, what do they call it? These creche, these, kindergartens or whatever from the age of 2. From the age of 2. They used to be, in our culture, used to be called the 7 years of home. You never leave home till you're 7. That's where you get the real tarbiyah. After 7, you go to school. Now they put them in school at 2. 2. They have these nurseries at 1 even. Someone's holding your baby with a bottle and walking around. Someone who's not, and that baby feels it. They're at the breast of another woman, not the mom. And then you say, my daughter doesn't like me. Well, yeah, because for 2-3 years she's been at the breast of another woman. So now when you try to hug her, there's these hormones that have been used to someone else. And now you're trying to, these very sensitive, so detailed things make a big difference. But we don't see it, because we just see the macro, but the micro is there. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has put things, there's a hikmah behind every single thing. So of course, if you're going to put your kids in a nursery because the woman wants to be on the same level with her husband and compete with him, and then rub it in his face, I make more money than you, haha. Don't tell me to do this or that because I'm the one who's the boss. And that's it. So definitely it's going to fall apart. Definitely it's going to fall apart. Any other questions? Yes, sister. The best legacy to leave behind, I believe, number one is building human beings. Building Muslims, real Muslims, I just said, real men, real women. focus on building them. And we're suffering, even, a lot of us are suffering from this. So we need to invest in that, building our kids, to be real women, real men. What's the standard? Not Spider-Man, not Thor, not Wonder Woman. It is Khalid, Omar, Abu Bakr, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It is Khadija, it is Maryam alayhi salam, it is, Asya, these people. They don't know these people because we don't talk to them about it. People say it's haram, we don't have cartoons that talk about this really. We don't have movies that talk about this really. People say, no, it's not good to look at movies, Ertugrul or Omar, the series, because they show, bro, the same people say it's not good, they're going to watch, Kingdom of this and, what's the other one? Vikings and what's the Games of Thrones. Everyone watches Games of Thrones. And the same people say, no, it's haram to show Sahaba. Subhanallah. I mean, about the Prophet ﷺ, there's no debate about that. But I think the Muslims have to start producing some media that inspires the children, that inspires the women and the men to really understand. Because if you just say some story, it's tough, man. But when you see a visual, you can connect. We're being bombarded with these Avengers, and the kids love it, right? They want to, it's very easy to follow. Halloween is haram, right? But now it's spreading here. Why? Because, you can dress like Thor, you can dress like Batman, you can dress like Superman. Wow, I want to be like that. It's so easy to fool them. So easy to trick them. Because that's their role model, Spider-Man, I mean, imagine, kids are going, this is not real. No one's going to fly. If they try to, and some will have tried. I'm Superman. Boom, done, dead. This is because it's illogical, it's not realistic. But imagine how powerful it is that human beings start believing that these are the role models, even though they're not, they don't exist. They can never exist, they can never be like that. Because we failed to provide for them the real role models. So we need to build role models. That's a big legacy that we have to build. And another thing that I say, we have to be financially strong. Don't be fooled. I told you, don't keep it in the heart, but in the pocket. The ummah has to be financially strong. As the sister said, Uthman bought that well, and look how smart he was. He had the money. And he knew that the ethics that this person was doing were incorrect. He was selling water, which is haram. You should not sell water. You know that, right? You can charge maybe for the bottling or something, as some scholars say. So Uthman says, okay, I'll buy it, share it, and we can do one day. So Uthman gave it for free his day. The other guy would charge, but then he went bankrupt because people just come on Uthman's day. But look how smart. You're smart, bro. Business smart. That's the thing. We don't think outside the box. We don't have critical thinking. He was a critical thinker. He did a critical decision to benefit who? Himself, did he? He benefited others. And that's why the well of Uthman is still there. Till today. And some of the things that some of the Sahabas are still waqf. But because they had the mindset. They didn't say, no, I'm very, very humble. I have a lot of taqwa. So I will just sleep on the floor and just, have no money and expect people to give me sadaqah. No, it's ridiculous. You be the one giving the sadaqah. You be the one giving the zakah. You be the one helping the Muslims and the non-Muslims. You be the one. You see the non-Muslims, how they will love you and respect you. You be the one who solves the problems of the non-Muslims. Because the Prophet ﷺ, that's what he did. He solved the problem of kufr. He solved the problem of kufr with tawheed. He solved the problem of poverty with sadaqah and zakah. He solved the problem of so many things through the principles of Islam. Health, through fasting, through clean, tahir and halal. It solves the problem of health. So many things. The problem of barakah by not cheating and no riba. And the problem of financial with riba again. So many things he solved for the non-Muslims. He solved the problem of women by giving them what they really deserve. They were burying the women, burying them alive. He solved the problem of sexual promiscuity and immorality through nikah. And even through polygamy. Women are alone. 20, 30 years alone, not being able to marry. I want to find a husband. Where are you going to find a husband? Take one who already knows how to do it. I know people don't like that, but this is the Islam. It's not me saying it, man. Sisters are coming saying, brother, I haven't been married for 15 years. Alone. Well, what do you think will happen to that woman? What kind of life she has? Well, how will she bring up, a new generation? Brothers wait 35, 40 till they get married. Come on. What kind of society do you think you build like that? Because we've been fooled to believe that the rizq is from our own hands. What Allah says, وَفِي السَّمَاءِ رِزْقُكُمْ وَمَا تُوعَدُونَ. Simple. Allah said that. Yes, there will be difficulties, no doubt. I mean, the Prophet had the most difficult life. People think, no, but it's going to be hard. Yeah, of course it'll be hard. But maybe you're going to come out of it stronger, man. Not a softie. Because they have lived hard lives, man. If the Prophet ﷺ, he is the beloved of Allah. I mean, he lived a very tough life. But he never said, no, I'm not going to get married because it's too difficult. Or I'm not going to do this because it's too hard. This is the problem. We have to step out of our comfort zone and do things that are hard so that we can grow a backbone. I think it's very important. Okay, any other questions? Yes, sister. Excellent. Those who don't get married.
Who doesn't get married. I mean, not she doesn't want to get married, but perhaps that's what Allah has given to her. And the second is, what is your advice for us to tell them so their mindset is not like, their mindset is not saying that woman is just need to be taken care of by husband.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay, very good question. Number one, sister, you have to understand that Allah didn't just wish it that someone doesn't get married. This is their choice. The Prophet ﷺ said, "An-nikah min sunnati." Okay, the nikah is from my sunnah. Problem is that some people are scared to get married. They are scared to tie the knot. They're scared to get married because they think that khalas, marriage is going to make me or break me or whatever. Sahabas married and lived and sometimes divorced. But they never had the mindset that I don't know, should I get married? I'm scared. Maybe it's not good for me. No. They married. And as soon as someone would pass away, one of the Sahaba, and the woman would finish her iddah, she would get married. Very few that stayed without getting married for whatever reason. And I cannot recall any actually from the top of my mind. I'd have to do a research on that. But there's no such thing as like not getting married. Because the problem is that people put their standards, and I want this and 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 this. And of course it would be very hard to get married. Because you're putting yourself in a position, yeah?
I disagree with your statement.
Okay, why?
Because all women want to get married.
Okay.
But sometimes they just couldn't get the man to get married. There's no point that he couldn't get married.
Say again, wait, I cannot hear.
I said, all women want to get married.
All women want, and I agree with you.
But sometimes they couldn't get the man to marry.
Why not?
Because that's what maybe God said.
No, why?
We try, but we couldn't get partner.
No, why can't a woman not get a partner? Give me and you need to prove when you say something. Why not? It's the standard, right? Maybe she thinks that this is not.
No. That's not very good. We never thought that, if we get married, we can face this problem.
There is also more women than men.
But that's what I said.
Right? And the men also are not men enough, probably.
Okay, that's what I was talking about. That's what I'm saying. So I don't think we're disagreeing. Okay, as you said, there's more women than men, and Islam gives the answer for that. Okay, and also you're saying that men are not men enough, and I agree with that. And I think that's why we're trying to give you the answer to that. We're trying to teach the men how to be real men. But I don't think we're disagreeing. All I'm saying is that yes, there are so many issues in society today that's stopping people from marriage. Okay? But there's no such thing as Allah has written it for you not to get married. You have to push it out. So, okay, there's too many women. Islam has given the answer to that. Okay, in Malaysia it's allowed. It's legal. Polygamy is legal. Okay, it's legal. But no one wants to do it. They're scared, right?
Maybe the government should get involved in matchmaking. Maybe Jakim could have a matchmaking department.
They should, no doubt. But that's what I'm saying though, right? I said let's think outside of the box. When you put your objectives in life, look at the problem and try to solve it. So if marriage is a problem in Malaysia, I need some of you to come up with the ideas on how to solve this problem. As you said, maybe the government has to do it. Maybe this. In some countries, the government does it. And subhanAllah, because it's so expensive to get married, they do this, it's called ars jama'i, Basically, they have communal marriage, where they kind of rent one place, and they save money, I don't know whether I agree with it or not, but they're trying to look for solutions to the problems. That's the thing. We talk about the problems, but we don't want to create the solutions. And we don't want to accept the solutions. Now it's changing. But, before, women, few years ago, if you talk to a woman about polygamy, she would not accept it. She would kill her husband. But now more women are accepting it because they see the need. They see the need and they see the problems. And they see that their sisters are going astray. So, I don't know. If you can refute that, I'm willing to listen. But this is the reality. It's not my philosophy. It's what Allah says. And if you think there's a different interpretation, look at the context of the Prophet ﷺ, Abu Bakr, Omar, Uthman, Ali, and all the Sahabas after them. Look at the context. Study the seerah. Look at the Sahabiyat. Look at their lives. And then you get context. Because context, there's no doubt for interpretation there. You cannot say, well, there's another opinion. No, look at what they've done. Because the action is sometimes more powerful than the word, because it actually tells you what they've done. So it's important to understand that. Time up?
Question number 2.
Why there are more girls not married is because men are married.
Okay.
Like the recent Prince of Faith conference, there were 80% girls, only 20% boys, 20 boys.
I agree with you. And actually, to give you an example, I think someone announced about marriage, and there was one brother, and there's 2 sisters who came forward. And then the guy chickened out. He did. I swear, he didn't come forward. He chickened out. And another example, just recently. Okay, the sisters were asking. There was one brother. He sent his profile. So we told him, like, bro, don't. He says, I'm just a brother who's looking for just a wife. And I said, you're just a, like, don't. Like, you need to push, like, you have no confidence. I'm just a guy. So actually, we advise them to change. Don't lie, but you're not just, there's got to be something that you have, isn't it? Or if not, then it's a problem. So the profile was pushed forward and the sisters rejected it. They said, no, I'm sorry. I don't want just a boy. And another one, sorry, because recently we had a luncheon, And there was one brother there who does he has an organization for matchmaking. As the sister said, with the guys is that they lack confidence. So the sisters cannot accept that. So he said, he gave me an example. He said the guy came, he was wearing shirt and pants, and he was wearing slippers. If you're gonna go and meet your future wife in slippers, if you go to a picnic in slippers, if you go to like the masjid in slippers because it's easy to take it off, but if you're gonna meet your future spouse in slippers, I don't know. It's you know. So the sister rejected him, and she said because he was wearing slippers, because it shows that you don't have shoes. But he was looking, everything was okay. But you know, you gotta respect yourself because it shows a lot about you, about who you are as a person. Women look for safety more than good looks and this and that. I mean, maybe the guy had nice slippers and nice body or whatever, but in the end it shows women look for confidence, safety, you know, a man who knows what he wants and who will guarantee that she'll be protected.
A man who leads.
A man who leads, yes. Okay, so I agree with that. Any other questions?
How do you know that the man is the right person?
How do you know the man is the right person? Okay. Okay. Look, you'll never know, 100%. And if you see again, I'm not advocating for that, but the problem is the way we look at marriage is that that's the final thing in our life. That's its death, you know. And it's not like that. It's not like that. Okay? Marriage is a means for you to go to Jannah. For your wife to help you to go to Jannah. Sadly, people marry each other and they become each other's astaghfirullah, idols. If anything happens, that's it. Their deen, everything collapses. They get into depression, suicide. They think life is over. And this is not what the Sahabas did and the women of the Sahaba. It's very clear. Because the mindset was different. For them, marriage was, yes, we'll live together, we'll be together, we'll be happy, loved, and this, that. But if Allah decides for that to end, then I have Allah. My direction is still towards Jannah. Today, our direction, especially the women, is their husbands. That's their astaghfirullah, their idol. And if anything happens in the marriage, their whole life collapses. And this is not the right attitude. Because Allah is your Lord, not your husband. Okay? So, you basically do your research. Number one, as the Prophet ﷺ said, you ask, you talk, you do what you can do to know about this person. You make your istikhara. Okay? It's not going to be any dream. It's just things will become either easier or harder. Okay? You're not going to have any dream. Trust me. Okay? Allah says in the istikhara, وإن كنت تعلم أن هذا خير لي في الدين ومعاش وعاقبة أمري فاقدره لي ويسره لي ثم بارك لي. Make it qadr for me, decree it for me, make it easy for me, then put barakah in it. This is the istikhara. Not like give me a dream or something. I know. Allah will make it easy. You'll find that things go fast. There's not going to be something happening all of a sudden. No, we're going to delay. These signs are going to show you that this is correct. Okay? If things get hard, all of a sudden you receive a phone call, something happened, there's a doubt, you start feeling inside, someone says that this happened, I don't know, things that are just like, oh my God, I can't believe this happened, right? It's showing you that things are getting hard. Open up your ears and your eyes and your heart and say, maybe I need to think about it again. Okay, so you made your istishara, you've looked around, you've done your research, you made your istikhara, then tawakkal Allah. You go ahead, because you'll never know a person 100%. When you live with them, then you'll know them a bit more and more and more. And I believe true love is more than just the emotions, understanding the faults of each other and being able to put up with them. You know, if you can understand the faults of each other and still be okay with it, put up with it, try to improve, this is real love, you know? Not like the fake love that we see. Because you can put up through the difficulties together. But again, it shouldn't, this fear, I feel that here in Malaysia, being for 1 year and doing lectures and talking to so many people, there's this fear of getting married. What if this is not the right person? Well, you're not going to know till you try. You know, you're not going to know. And more people are staying single, and because of that, more and more society is suffering. It's suffering. The fitrah changes. Any other questions?
Not really a question, but I guess it's just an addition to the solution of why the sisters are not getting married. I think the number one they have mentioned because the lack of the real men, but also I think it's the fact that the standards of the woman for their future spouse is too high. It's like it's almost being unrealistic because you can never have it all. So if you can prioritize it, like your list, you should have a list of your futures, the characteristics that you would like in a partner. So you really prioritize it, like what is the, for example, the religion, good looks and whatever, but prioritize it, which one is more important to you.
That's right.
Now we have like sisters rejecting men because they may have a PhD, but they are spouses having a diploma, but they are pleased with their religion, but they are willing to reject that because of that.
They're not on the same level of education. No doubt.
So you'll be able to find somebody else.
No doubt. Yeah, standards are very high. But look, again, because I'm not dealing with the women so much, even though I understand, I believe, women, because, you know, in my family I have 9 women that I'm taking care of in my family, amongst my daughters, my mom, my wives, and so on. So I know women quite well. And one thing I know about women is that they're usually, in general, more clean than men. And they want cleanness. And guys, sadly, these days, we're very, very lacking of that. So women have an issue. Women also want strength from a man. And again, sadly, guys are not so strong. Women want stability. And sadly, a lot of guys are still playing video games and not having a job at the age of 35. They're just starting their career, maybe. If they stop getting, you know, and maybe they still live with their parents and, you know, and so on. Women like, to contrary popular opinion, women like a man to be handsome. And a lot of guys do not take care of that. That's why I'm linking it to cleanliness, because a lot of guys don't groom themselves. And the women find it appalling. Especially smells. Sorry to say that, yes. And the Prophet ﷺ hated bad smells the worst. He hated bad smells. I'm telling you this because I'm dealing recently with one case where the wife was saying when the husband comes home, she cannot get close to him because the way he smells. The Prophet ﷺ didn't enter the house before applying attar. He didn't enter the house before using miswak. And he said, if I would have not feared that it would have been difficult for you, I would have made miswak fard. When the brothers enter the house and, hello honey, you know, and the woman dies, you know. Yeah, and it's an issue because the issue that I dealt with, the brother said that my wife doesn't want to sleep with me. And then when we analyze the situation, it's because no one would want to sleep with you, man. You know, because it's very, very bad. I'm sorry, it's very blunt, but this is the reality. It's the reality. So the standard, these kind of standards, that's what we're trying to fix the brothers. Because as a man, fix the brothers to be at least at standard. Then we can see if the sisters are too picky or not. You know? But if the sunnah is not respected from a man, okay, then number one, he grooms himself. Okay, this is from the tahara. At-tahara shatrul iman. It is part of iman. So brushing your teeth, applying clean, making, you know, taking a good shower. The Prophet ﷺ used to do that. The sunnah of removing the hair from the private parts, all these things that people, brothers ignore. Well, I'm busy. The Prophet ﷺ was busier than you. You know, these things are necessary. When those are done, then we can see the sisters are picky or not. Because this is the fitrah, right? This is what a person should be on. The Prophet ﷺ, they say when he passed by, we would smell his beautiful smell. The children said when the Prophet ﷺ used to touch our head, we used to love to see, to smell his hand. He said when he used to smile, his teeth were clean and white. When someone smiles at you today, it's like, oh my God. But subhanAllah, the same brothers are willing to buy cigarettes and spend money on stupid things. They're not willing to go to the dentist. And then say, I'm not getting a wife. You know, of course you'll not get a wife because she'll run away from you. Sorry, but I'm not saying, I'm talking about what the standard of Islam is. This is the standard of Islam. The Prophet ﷺ said, Allahu Jameel wa yuhibbu Jamal. Allah is beautiful and He loves beauty. Clear. So the men, we are trying to teach the men how to get back to standard. And then if that's done, then I believe that the sister's not going to have a problem. And Allah knows best. Any other questions?